Hello my fellow movie lovers. Today I've got another interesting one in store for you guys. This one is called Crawl, and it's a creature feature which got released back in 2019. It was liked by audiences and critics alike, so I'm sure you guys are gonna like it too. Of course, full spoilers going in, so crawl ahead at your own risk. Alright then, let's dive in. Damn, that's two awful puns in a row. Yikes. Anyway, the movie begins in Florida with our lead, Haley, preparing for a big win as she competes in a swimming contest. But she loses by the smallest of margins after an intense session. She can't show her tears to the others because that's what her dad Dave used to say when he was coaching her. They have also got this thing going on where she considers herself to be an apex predator. But that's more of a foreshadowing technique than anything else. We also learn that there's a Category 5 hurricane named Wendy that's hitting the town, and people are being advised to take caution because Wendy's gonna be nasty. Now, Haley talks to her sister Beth, and their conversation is basically to explain that their parents are divorced and that there's some family drama between them as well. But then Beth mentions that their dad isn't responding to her calls, and she's worried about him. A small argument ensues. Haley decides to then go check on Dave so that she can end this painful chat with Beth. She hits a roadblock on her way when a traffic cop named Wayne informs her that she can't go through because of the damage that Wendy's already causing. Oh yeah, Wayne's also Beth's ex-boyfriend for some reason, so it doesn't really have much of the story, but it's there anyway. Haley agrees to back off at first, but then decides to screw it and goes off-road. The radio broadcast gives us enough information to let us know that shit is gonna go down soon. Haley reaches Dave's condo, where she meets a very good girl named Sugar. Surprisingly, Daddy's not home, and the condo looks a little depressing with all the family pictures laid out as if the guy was thinking of suicide or something. Anyway, Haley can't leave Sugar alone and decides to bring her along to the family's old house on Coral Lake. She finds Dave's truck outside, so he should be there, right? Well, if he's not in his truck, then where is he? It keeps pouring as Haley continues to look for her dad, but he doesn't even respond to Marco Polo, which means something is definitely up. Haley finds his phone, and we see another emergency alert telling us that this hurricane is definitely gonna wreak some havoc. Suddenly, Haley hears Sugar barking, and shit! A jump scare. It's just a tree though, so Haley locates the cute doggy barking at the crawl space. With nothing much to do, she decides that this should be a good time to become Dora the Explorer. It's pretty filthy, and it doesn't help that there are so many rats. Ugh, I feel sick just looking at it, man. Haley really must care for her dad to go through all this shit, and quite literally too. Things get a little creepy on her quest when she hears some weird noises and finds some blood. But she eventually finds Dave passed out with some super sus bite marks on his shoulder. He's still alive, so Haley gets to work and drags him back while the radio just can't stop warning us about this freaking hurricane. They're almost at the steps, but holy shit, there's a freaking alligator in the house! Haley manages to drag Dave to some kind of safety behind a bunch of pipes that the gator can't get through, and then she waits for the time being. The bad news is that she dropped her phone on the way, so yeah, they're pretty trapped now. Dave wakes up after a while, but makes it a little awkward when he confuses Haley for Beth. Well, let's just hope he doesn't do the same with his dates. He reveals that the gator must have gotten through the drainage pipes, and there isn't much that they can do, considering his freaking knee bone is displaced. Yikes, disgusting. After some awkward bonding, Haley decides to get her phone even though Dave isn't too fond of that idea. She wants him to keep talking so that she can stay in focus. But Dave pulls a typical dad move and asks her about her swimming prowess. She reveals that she lost her recent contest, but Dave is still confident in his apex predator. However, Haley's grown sick of that narrative, so she decides to stick to finding her phone, and then calls 911 when she gets it. But wait a second, shit, another alligator! It drags Haley away, but she actually manages to break free after sticking a screwdriver into one of its eyes, and escapes both the gators by hiding in another safe zone. Damn, Haley is a badass, but yeah, her phone gets smashed by one of those reptilian bastards, and her leg ain't looking too good either. However, she's way ahead of us and treats her wound while Dave tries to come up with another idea. Meanwhile, we see the scene outside the house, and oh, come on. How many gators are there in this movie? Dave manages to stick his broken leg back together in a very painful to watch sequence, and Haley also spots some people outside. But they're just a bunch of freeloaders looking to rob some stuff from the gas station. One of them notices Haley flashing her light at them, but the other Gators decide that there ain't gonna be any rescue missions in this movie, and so they eat up the freeloaders. Shit. Dave realizes that there's another escape route from the crawl space, and directs Haley towards it. She gets there and tries to break out, but the latch has got some random stuff on it that makes it impossible to lift. Oh, poor Sugar, all she wants to do is help, but she's not really going to be of much use here. The hurricane grows worse and the crawl space starts to flood really fast, but our heroes find some hope when Wayne and his partner Pete drop by looking for people to help. Dave and Haley call out to him aggressively and get his attention as he breaks into the house. They try to direct him towards the crawl space, and even Sugar assists him like a good girl that she is. Meanwhile, Pete tries to fix their boat's propeller when it gets stuck in some plants, but then he notices something trying to break free from a swing. Now, any normal human being would probably want to stay away from this, but Pete's an idiot, so he walks towards it, and soon enough, he gets nommed on by all the alligators swimming around him. You know what? It's his fault. So I'm not even mad at the reptiles for this one. And now Wayne gets to the entrance of the crawl space and calls Pete for some help. But one jump scare later and he's killed off when a gator jumps at him and munches down, even as Haley tries to save him. With no one left to come and help them, she comes back to Dave and tells him that she should have never come back. That's not exactly what your dad wants to hear in the middle of an alligator invasion. So that kicks off some more family drama. It's mainly centered on the divorce and how Haley blames herself for it because her dad spent all his time coaching her and didn't pay any attention to her mom in the process. But they gotta make it out of here alive, so Dave gives her a pep talk on how she's got a gift in her swimming abilities. They come up with a plan where Dave distracts the gators by banging on the pipes, thus allowing Haley to swim the stairs. The plan starts off alright, especially when Dave manages to kill off one of the nasty little buggers. But the other one ain't gonna fall for that shit. So, it stands guard right at the stairs. Haley thinks fast and decides to try the drain pipes even though that's where the gators have been coming from in the first place. She's in for an unpleasant surprise when she finds Wayne's dead body and a bunch of hatched eggs. Well, at least the baby gators won't be as dangerous as the massive one that's just entered the scene. It vanishes into the water, and Haley equips herself with Wayne's gun. But that's when we're treated to another jump scare, as the gator pops out and munches on her hand. She empties the gun into its tummy and kills it off, but her hand doesn't look as damaged as it should. Anyway, she needed a win, so she tries to make her exit from the drain. But there are so many gators in the water, so she moves fast and gets to land before getting chomped. She rushes to the house to rescue Dave, who's pretty much drowning at this point thanks to the rapid flooding. Haley breaks through the floor and drags him out, but he doesn't look very alive. She punches onto his chest, and Sugar lands an assist with some kisses too. That seems to work because he wakes up right after. They go to the truck, but the flooding is pretty bad, so that's not really going to work out. Then they notice the freeloaders' boat and decide to use it for their escape. But wait, wasn't there a cop boat too? Anyway, Dave gives Haley another pep talk, and then she outpaces the gators to get to the boat. And then she finally celebrates her apex predator status too. Haley brings the boat towards Dave and Sugar to rescue them, but all that effort goes to shit when the hurricane picks up again and the waves push them into the house. All of them get separated. Dave searches for Sugar while Haley tries to contact the police with a walkie-talkie that she found. Dave picks up a bunch of flares before getting to Sugar. He brings the good girl to safety, but his arm gets chewed off by an alligator. Yikes. The reptile then chases after Haley, but she manages to trap it inside the bathroom in a well-directed sequence. She gets back to tend to her dad, and they figure out that the attic is the best place for them to go now. Once there, they notice a rescue chopper approaching, but a gator breaks in to ruin the mood by attacking Haley. She seems down and out now, but after a montage of memories, she sticks a flare into its eye and frees herself after a struggle. She swims out of the house and is helped to the top of the roof by Dave, just before the gators can get to her. The chopper closes in on them, and they attract its attention with another flare. The movie ends with father, daughter, and dog all happy and relieved that they're getting a happy ending. And that, guys, was Crawl. It's a pretty impressive concept, and it was nice to see a well-done movie on alligators, because to be honest, there isn't much to brag about in this genre apart from maybe Lake Placid or Rogue. But anyway, like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you want more recaps, and check out my social media too if you want to talk more about movie-related stuff. And I'll catch you in the next one.